Okay, it is now 35 after the hour, and to respect everyone's time, I'd like to start the presentation. Um, Again, thank you for your promptness. And there we go. We have one other coming. So good deal. Welcome to the Woodacres Water Main Replacement meeting for this evening. We have substantially completed phase one, and we are naming this phase two. So we will discuss this evening some of the issues and things that have happened in phase one, and then we will discuss phase two. Welcome, everyone. Again, I appreciate your time this evening and allowing us to communicate with you. My name is David Hayes. I am Director of Watershed Management. I've been appointed director. I've been director now for just over 3 years. And I appreciate the opportunity to lead your most valuable commodity in DeKalb County, and that is your water system. We we would like to have had some elected officials in here. I'm looking now to see if there are any county commissioners, but I don't see any. Team, have you identified any county commissioners in attendance this evening thus far?
Not at this time, Director Hay.
Okay, well, we'll proceed. And if there are any officials that come in, please bring them to my attention. Again, as I mentioned, my name is David Hayes. I'm Director of Watershed Management. What we're going to do this evening, we're going to kind of do a recap on the phase one of this Woodacres Water Main Replacement Project. We're going to then go into the phase two of the project, and we're going to address a lot of the concerns and issues that have been experienced through this project thus far. What I'd like to share with you is that my team, we're dedicated to taking this water infrastructure and improving it, making it better, to make it more reliable so that you don't experience the issues that you've had in the past years. And those issues were low pressure, brown water, no water at times when we've had main breaks and things of that nature. So I'm pleased to present to you this evening my team. Next slide, please. And you'll hear from Cassandra Marshall. She is the Assistant Director of the Capital Improvement Program. She's going to give you some information about the project and what we're doing there for the project, the schedule, and things of that nature. You have Eduardo and Mesquita. He is the construction project manager. He's the boots on the ground. He's that person who's managing the day-to-day of the contractors and the construction inspectors and construction managers. And then you're going to hear from Miss Alicia Penny. She's our public relations manager. She's responsible of keeping you apprised of everything and keeping you in the know of what we're doing and what's going on. And so what we hope to accomplish this afternoon is to, again, share with you what we've done, where we've come, what we have experienced, and what we're planning on doing in the future. We hope that if there are any shortcomings or things that we have not done to a level of acceptance, we have recognized that, and we're going to own that, and we're going to communicate what we anticipate doing, what we plan on doing to make that better. And then furthermore, if there are some major concerns or questions that you may have, we hope to address those concerns and answer those questions this evening. Next slide, please. So why are we here? Simply, we understand the problems that you've historically had there. groundwater, low pressure, substantial amount of main breaks. This project was on our radars, on our calendar, on our schedule to do. DeKalb County on a whole has over 3,000 linear miles of pipe in the ground. And we understand the condition of all of the pipe that's in the ground, this water system. It's unfortunate that it has not been maintained the way that it should have been. And we have gotten to a state where we are experiencing brown water failures. We're experiencing water outages and again, breaks. What CEO Michael Thurman has pledged is a new day. And what we have been very diligently and hard at work doing in Watershed is keeping CEO Michael Thurman's promise for a new day. Over 3,000 linear miles of pipe in the ground in DeKalb County. A huge portion of that pipe, it's old, undersized, out of life expectancy, meaning that it's lived its life and it can't do anymore because of its age, decrepitated. And so this team that you have before you, we've been charged with correcting those situations. It's not a small feat, it's actually a large challenge, a huge challenge. And we've accepted that challenge. We are trying to make up for decades of neglect. We're trying to bring the system current from the 1960, 1950 that it is to current 2024. And we have pledged to the CEO to make DeKalb County's water and sewer infrastructure state of the art, because we want DeKalb County to grow. We want DeKalb County to be that mecca where everybody wants to come to. And then when you come here, we want you to have a great experience. We want to bring all businesses, and we want to improve the infrastructure so that we increase the value of our assets. So that's what you have here today. You have the A team, and you have a team that has pledged to give you their best and to improve the system as quickly as we can to minimize or reduce the issues that you've been having. So all that being said, once we do this and upgrade, this system will be here for generations to come. And we hope that we put in place standard operating procedures and programs to not allow this system to ever revert to the state that it has been, that it was, but to continue to be that leading industry, that leading watershed, to provide the best service, the best water, the best customer service with little to no headaches. Next slide, please. This is the A team that we put together. It's DeKalb County's own watershed management. We have a couple of consultants, AECOM, they helped us with the assessment. CG&E Solutions, they're helping us with the construction management. And then the people that you see day to day doing the work, Ruby Collins, they are the team that's putting the pipe in the ground for you. This team was strategically put together for this project so that we could get this pipe in the ground successfully. And again, to make sure that what happens, what goes in the ground is there for the long haul, 70 to 80 years in the future. Next slide. The next person you're going to hear from is Miss Cassandra Marshall. Again, she is the Assistant Director of the Capital Improvement Program. She's going to give you a little background on the project, the scope, and what we're doing. Ms. Marshall?
Thank you, Director Hayes. Good evening, everybody. Again, my name is Cassandra Marshall. I've served at watershed management for over 11 years now. I am a licensed water professional, a certified project manager, and a certified construction manager. My responsibilities include managing the construction management staff and overseeing Watershed's $2.4 billion CIP program. But before I get into the scope of the project, I want to reiterate, we want you all to know we're here to help. We want to reduce or eliminate emergency repairs. And the only way to do that is to get in to install the new main. We try to use as little disruption as possible, but we have to install the new main to decommission the old main. We also want to ask that you be patient with us through this process. Next slide. So as a quick recap of the project scope, we split the project up into 2 phases. Phase 1 was the most critical piece. I believe we were getting the most complaints from that area. Those that included Woodacres Road, Jordan Terrace, Malabar Drive, and Battle Drive. That included 4,700 linear feet of pipe to be replaced. That pipeline work is complete and in service. We're currently moving forward with phase 2, which include Dover Hill Place, Wentworth Drive, Cape Hart Circle, and Rhineland Court. It encompasses 5,600 linear feet of 8-inch DIP. The construction manager will provide more details regarding the schedule for the completion of each task on phase 2. That'll be done by Edgardo Amosquito. So once the pipe is completed, the plan is for us to mill and resurface the lane in which the pipe is installed. All of the landscaping should be within the county right-of-ways. It will be replaced in kind. Next slide. So next you will hear from Edgardo Amosquito. He's a construction project manager for this project. He has over 30 years of experience. He's also a licensed water professional also. Edgardo?
Yep. Yeah. Good evening, everyone. I want to show appreciation for those that chimed in to our presentation so you can get updated on what we have going on the project. We're going to go straight into my chart and I'll have better explanation, more visual. So can we show the next plot, this next slide, please? So I have the project broken up into 4 phases. As you can see, we have the pipe installation, we have the testing and connections, we have paving restoration and lawn restorations. So I have all the streets that's part of this project. We know them already: Warwick Circle intersection, Woodacres Road, Cape Hart Circle, Deering Circle intersection, Ryland Court, Dover Hill Place, Wentworth Drive, Malabar Drive, Jordan Terrace, Battle Drive. So as you see in the chart, the bottom half of the chart, Dover Hill to Battle Drive, the pipe is completely installed. It is completely tested. That part of the pipe work has passed the testing, passed the bacterial testing. So now we're going in as far as the first phase. We have completed the paving restorations for Malabar, Jordan, and Battle. So right now we have Wentworth Drive slated to be paved. We have Dover Hill Place slated to be paved. Usually we try to do 30 days, but we try to bring those as far as we try to do it as quickly as possible. But the schedule with the asphalt company sometimes they got to get on the schedule, show up on the site. So we give ourselves 30 days to get that work done. And then lawn restoration, mid-November, we should be completed with most of the restorations. We do have some minor issues, some punch list items. That's what we call it, punch list items. We'll take care of those. And as far as the lawn, we also have to take consideration that whatever season grass you have will come into play. Because if you have a winter grass, we're getting into the fall, we can get that supply, we can get those installed. But if you have a summer grass, that season is fast passing us. So sometimes this project has a 1-year warranty. So sometimes we'll have to wait till that season come back to be able to put in the proper sod that you have. If you didn't have sod, we go back and we seed and sod with in kind. So whatever grass you have, we'll get the seed for it and we'll place it. And the contractor is responsible to make sure that that grass has established itself before he can leave the site. So the warranty will cover that. Now moving on to phase 2. Right now, we're in progress in Woodacres Road. And I had a question, when would the 2400 block water lines service lines be installed? Well, I want to make everybody understand that first comes the water main line. Once that is established, once that tested, passed, and all that, then we come back and we start switching service line. So that's usually on the back end of the water line installation. So it doesn't happen in the front end. So sometimes you'll see a contractor in front of your house working, installing the pipe, but he will not necessarily attach you to the new pipe until it's tested, it's passed testing, and then we go back and attach all the services. That is usually the last thing we do. So to answer that question, towards the back end, 14 days after testing, and that has passed, we'll go back and start installing people's service lines to the new line. I have some dates here, and these are tentative dates, depending on weather and unforeseen conditions. So I kind of left it monthly, so like that we can at least give you an idea when these things are supposed to happen. And so Warwick Circle intersection is one of those places where we're going to finish, and it's just an intersection tie-in. So we have that start date mid-October, the testing 14 days after that, and then the paving 30 days after that. The lawn restorations to be determined depending on when we finish and what season you fall in. Cape Heart Circle, again, mid-October. Deering Circle intersection right now is in progress. When that installation is finished, we'll go into the testing mode. And then we have Reinhardt Court, mid-October, same thing, 14 days after pipe installation, then we test. We'll do restorate paving and lawn. So right now we're just beginning phase 2. We're getting, and they're moving pretty quickly. So this is a tentative schedule. Things happen as far as weather, unforeseen conditions that we might have to deal with. So sometimes those dates might move forward. If we're doing really, really well, we'll move those dates forward. But if issues happen, we will obviously have to move those dates back. I also have some questions that I want to address. We got from some of the residents. We compiled as many as we could. A lot of them were repeated questions. So I'm going to go through these questions just so everyone has their information. And then if you have other questions, we can take those also. So one of the questions was about the granite curb. Yes, that is part of our restoration. Those granite curbs that have been damaged during construction are slated to be replaced. But we try to do that before we pave. So that won't happen until paving, right around paving time. There was also another question about the incident that happened this week with the broken gas main. It is fire department protocol that when a gas line is broken, they are notified and they come out and they block the whole street. They evacuate the whole street. They will not let residents in. They will not let pedestrians in. They evacuate construction workers. And what they do is they safeguard the area until the Atlanta Gas Light Company can come out and make the repairs on the gas line. And that is for safety reasons. That's because a leaking gas line can potentially set on fire if something sparks near it. So that is a protocol. The police department usually comes out also. They keep everybody out the area. So we did get complaints about not being able to get to the resident, but that is a fire department protocol. That is a safety protocol. We cannot intervene in those things. Once the fire department releases the area and they say, yes, it's safe to get in the area, that's when the streets get opened back up. And then that's when residents can, make it into their homes and construction workers go back to work. If it's a late day, depending on when the gas line was repaired, that might be the end of the day because it might take all day. So they get into cleanup mode and they move out and come back the next morning. That was one of the questions.
So, Mr. Mosquito, let me chime in on that too. There have been several gas main breaks in the area due to this construction. Some of those gas main breaks were because of mismarkings from the locate company. They marked in one area, we dug in a different area, and just so happened that they were not accurately marked. We have been in communication with the locate companies. They take ownership of those things that were mistakes of their own, and they have come back and remarked, and have gotten better. So we've been communicating with them the severity, and of course, that's their profession. And if they mismark, they won't have a job. So they understand the severity of the situation, and they are doing things to correct that. And I believe, depending on the distance from the false marking, they accept liability financially. So we're working with them to better their system. We're working with the contractors to better their system as well while they're digging, because it's mismarked if we are very conscious about what we're doing. And mind you, this pipe, all of this equipment in the ground has been there for decades, 50+ years. We believe we know where it is, but there are none of us that have worked for this company 50 years ago. So drawings, technology it's different. It's not as accurate as we would love for it to be. So everything has to have some kind of tolerance. That being said, the construction team, we know that things may not be marked properly. We have vowed to take precautions to be much more safe, because we understand now that things are not marked properly and have not been marked properly thus far, and which has created several incidents. But I would remind you that we have installed now well over 3,000 feet of pipe. For that volume of pipe to be put in the ground with the few incidents that we've had, the team, they are doing a pretty good job. They're doing a great job. And thank you for your patience when this happens. And note that we are taking notes and we are putting provisions in place to get better, to reduce the inconveniences that you have experienced thus far. Thank you, Mr. Mosquito. Continue.
Sure. Now, one of the other questions that came up, and I wanted to emphasize this because it is causing confusion amongst the residents, and I want to take this opportunity to clear it up. Now, there has been a lot of questions about replacing service lines outside of the county side. So our service line is from the meter to the water main. That is the county's responsibility. And then we have from the meter into the homes, that is usually the responsibility of the homeowner. Now, that said, we're talking about an older area. I know a lot of these houses were built in the 50s and the 60s, and the material of choice in those days is galvanized pipe. And galvanized pipe is older material, older technology, and it has a propensity to deteriorate over time. There has been some concern that some of the residents are thinking that DeKalb County is requiring homeowners to replace the galvanized pipe on their side of the property. This is not true. This is why I want to reiterate and make this clear. Although the pipe is the responsibility of the homeowner, we are not requiring you to upgrade it. It is not a requirement for DeKalb County. We are upgrading our side from the main to the meter. It is your choice. It is your decision, totally your decision, to assess your side of the pipe and make the decision if you want to upgrade the system or not, or if you have it evaluated and it's a good pipe and you don't have to upgrade. We are not requiring you to upgrade your side of the pipe. That is it is for you to decide as the homeowner. So I know there's a lot of rumor going out there that DeKalb County is going to force people to do so. That is not correct. It is your choice as the homeowner to do your due diligence and have your system evaluated, and you determine whether you need to upgrade it or not. So I just want to make that a very clear issue. The other issue is that's going out there is DeKalb County has what they call a lead and copper pipe program that is starting. That is not being managed by this department, but I wanted to put out a little bit of information about it just to clarify. I did have a conversation with the manager of that section. Currently, the program is in its initial stage. The database is being developed for this project, for this program. There's still some evaluations that have to be done. And when that is initiated and that program is initiated, they will bring it forward to the public. You will have online access to the program. They will put out information on this program, but right now it is so early in development that the rumors are getting out there and residents are getting confused, but it is so early in the initiation of the lead and copper program that I just want to make it known that it's very early on. This information will get put out. And you will have access online to it per the DeKalb County website. When those things come into play, they will push that information out. So you will have clear instructions on what's going on, how it's going to happen, what are the things that are going to take place. So I can't go into the program too much, but I wanted to make sure that you know that this is just initiated and there's still a lot of work before even any work gets done out there in the field. So I just wanted to make sure I put that out there. And there was another incident, and I want to make very clear, there was another incident where some brown water came back into the system, but that was not the cause of our actual system. That the system that we replaced handled that problem very, very well because we switched over the water line and we hadn't had any complaints about brown water for about a month now. And then we had a private contractor that was doing some work on our system, and the fire hydrant that they were supposed to replace did not have an actual valve in front of it to isolate the fire hydrant by itself. So they had to shut down the water in order to take the fire hydrant off the system. When they did so, they stirred up some of that tuberculation, and that brown water got into the system. But when they flushed, and this is one of the issues that we had found out about, is when they flushed, they did not flush long enough. They're supposed to find the closest fire hydrant and flush to a long enough time that we can confirm that the water was clear And then at that point, we can put it back into service. They did not do that. They did not flush the expected amount of time to prevent from brown water getting into the system. But we recognized the issue. We went back. We did some more flushing. We made sure the water got cleared, and then we put the system back into the system, and everybody started getting clear water again. So those are the things that sometimes happen when we have other contractors that don't communicate with us, and they just go out there and perform their task. But it is not a reoccurring issue. It is just something that happened at that time. We identified it, we corrected it, and hopefully we should be good. We will monitor the situation. We want to make sure. So if anybody out there, if you see brown water in your system, just let us know, and we'll evaluate and see what's going on. Those are most of the questions that I had that I got online. If there are any other questions out there, I'll be happy to take them at this moment.
Yeah, we have some in the chat, and I encourage everyone with questions to put them in the chat, and that's how we'll address the questions. We'll go through the chat and we'll answer them in the order that they're received in the chat. So thank you.
Yes.
But what I'd like to do is go to the next slide and go to Miss Penny and allow her to communicate to you on how we're communicating and share information with you that may be useful so that you can communicate with us or find information that you're seeking. Ms. Penny?
Thank you, Director Hayes. Good evening, everyone. My name is Alicia Penny, and I'm the Public Relations Manager for the Department of Watershed Management. I've been with the department for 21 years, and I'm responsible, my team is responsible for communication for the entire department. Next slide, please. Ahead of tonight's meeting, you should have received a notification letter similar to the one you see to the far left here, letting you know about the meeting tonight, the date, with also the Zoom link. If you've not been receiving these notification letters, we need to hear from you. And we ask that you please put your name and address in the chat so that we can make sure that you're included in future notifications that go out. We also utilize door hangers that will be similar to the one you see here. And finally, we use emails. Most of you have been receiving weekly updates, email updates about the project. We will continue to communicate in this manner. If you've not been receiving email updates about the project, please put your email address in the chat and we will add you to the distribution list. That email list is the way for us to communicate with you also when emergencies occur, such as the gas leak that happened and any other interruptions that may occur that are emergency in nature. That is one of the quickest ways we can get the information to you. Next slide, please. How we communicate. We use the website. We have a dedicated web page for this project. After tonight, this actual presentation will be posted on the website, as well as the Zoom meeting will be located on the website. We use social media. We use Twitter and Facebook. We use news releases. We also utilize the county newsletter, which is the Relay. And that newsletter comes out once a week, and we use that as well to communicate with you. We use project signs as needed in the area, and we will be increasing some of the signage that you will see in the area that will communicate to you what is happening in your neighborhood. Our contractors, of course, at times may come door to door to inform you of something that is occurring at that moment. We use also Nextdoor is another method that we use to communicate. But again, if you've not been getting our email updates, please provide your email address so that we can add you to our list. Next slide, please. Questions. If you have questions about the project, we have a 1-800 dedicated number where you can leave a message and someone will return your call within 1 to 2 days. Normally within a day, you will get a call back. We also have an email address of projectinfo@dekalbcountyga.gov. If you send an email to that address, someone will respond with the answer to your questions. Listed here, you have other critical contact information for our construction and engineering staff. This is their email addresses and their phone numbers. Now, this is very critical. If you have an issue that happens outside of normal hours or on the weekends, so outside of business hours and on the weekends, we want you to use our emergency number. That number is our dispatch hotline that is available 24 hours, 7 days a week. There's someone who answers those calls, and you can call the number that is listed here, or you can send an email to this email address, and it will be responded to immediately. And we want to emphasize, if you have an emergency, this is the way to reach us. If you leave a message on the project information line, we will not get that immediately to be able to respond in an emergency type situation. So we want to make sure that you use the dispatch hotline. Next slide, please. Okay, that is,
Penny?
yes, sir.
Yeah, with that, just as you mentioned, we're wrapping it up. We do have several questions in the chat. We have had several emails been listed in the chat. So my team, they will take note of those emails and they will add it to the email list so that you can get information going forward in a timely manner. And again, what I want to communicate is you have a great team performing this work for you. We have come in, and as one of the messages in the chat has communicated, it's been a short period of time for such a large amount of pipe to be put in the ground. And this area is extraordinarily old, and we're going to have challenges, and things are not going to be where we believe they are, where it was noted, because technology then is extraordinarily different from the technology today. Records 50 to 70 years ago are nowhere near the records that we're maintaining and keeping today. So thank you for being patient with us. Please forgive us for the hardship that we've caused, but note that it has not been because we don't care. It's been because we are working hard and we are trying to get around these challenges that we are facing day in and day out. So there's the second time this question has come up for the fire engine. I'll address this from now, and then I'll allow Ms. Penny to read the other questions in order. There's a question about fire engines, how many fire engines are in the area, and you know, when things happen. We communicate daily with the fire department. I have a great relationship with the fire chief, and when we're doing work, they understand where we're doing the work, and they understand the work that we're doing and the concerns and issues that can come up with that work. And they schedule themselves, they position their resources in a manner that they can manage most anything that we come across. Meaning if we have water outages, they have tanker trucks on standby in the area filled with water to manage the shortage of water for any need for fire suppression that may come around. The gas leaks that were in place, they have crews in the area ready to manage the gas leak according to their protocol. They bring in additional resources if necessary to manage the situation that we're facing. So again, we have a great relationship with the fire chief, Chief Fulham. He's on my speed dial. Whenever I need him, he answers. And likewise, similarly, when he has a question or concerns, I'm on his speed dial and we communicate regularly. So you're in great hands in that area. From there, Ms. Penny, I'll allow you to regurgitate the other questions in the chat, and we'll get the right staff member to address or answer the question.
Okay, let's start. Sorry, bear with me a moment. Okay, first is a question and a comment. Will our landscaping will be replaced because a lot of damage has been done to our lawn and driveway.
Yes. We restore everything we damage, everything we disturb, we go back and we restore it. So, and we restore in kind. So we evaluate what kind of grass you have and we bring back that same grass. So if you have high-end zoysia grass, we get zoysia grass and install it. And then the contractor is responsible and make sure that that sod is established. They can't just walk away. They can't just lay it down and walk away. They have to make sure it is established before they're released from warranty.
Okay, our next question, they are deconstructing the pavement on Woodacres now. If phase 1 is complete, what are they doing?
Woodacres is where we start the second phase. Phase 1 went into Woodacres, but only a short distance. We didn't go all the way into Woodacres. So really Woodacres is part of the second phase. It did get, there's a line there where we decided, okay, we're going to stop phase 1 here and we're going to start phase 2 on Woodacres. So the work they're doing now is really phase 2 starting. And usually we overlap a little bit sometimes. So if we cut into the new asphalt, that's fine because we're going to redo it anyway. We like to overlap it.
Okay, the next question, was there a change in diameter from the original? Did AECOM evaluate water age in the area?
Yeah, that is true. AECOM is one of our contractors that they come in and evaluate the system. But this system right here was always slated to be 8-inch. The old system might have been 6 inches, and we went ahead and upgraded it to an 8-inch pipe, which is our common pipe now. We don't do 6-inch pipes anymore. Everything gets upgraded to 8 inches and larger.
Okay, the next question, has anything been addressed regarding trash and food and debris being left on front lawns? It has happened repeatedly in our area.
Yes, ma'am. We did talk to the contractors and their subs about leaving trash. I have an inspector now who walks through the site before the end of the day. So like that, he can identify trash that was left and bring it to the attention so they can go back and pick it up. That has been a contention on this project, and we're trying to stay on top of that.
So Mr. Mark Nooks, he's on the meeting with us this evening. If you would say hello and to the residents and let them know that you're in the area and you tour this area quite frequent to help prevent and eliminate that going forward. Mr. Nooks.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you, Director Hayes. My name is Mark Nooks, and I am the Senior Inspector for the Woodacres project. As everyone has been mentioning, we're focused on making sure that we upgrade your infrastructure to our 8-inch ductile iron pipe. I know in some areas There's 6-inch. In some areas, there's even 2-inch galvanized. And that's very old. Right now, we've completed that first phase, as mentioned, and our goal is to continue to do our work. We're actually more than halfway completed in the process. As of today, we're around 7,300 linear feet. We're almost able to tying to Daring Circle. And by the end of next week, we should be at Warwick tying in there so we can also have a double feed. We changed priorities a little bit. We were actually going to go ahead and tie in homes after we've completed our chlorination tomorrow on Dover Hill and Wentworth. But since we had the issue last week, we found out that it is a priority for us to have a double feed. So if anything happens again on Claremont Terrace, we'll be having a feed coming from Daring or for Warwick Circle to feed the area so that the outage or a water outage will be minimized and not be so widespread. So what we're asking, I'm there every day, talking to neighbors, bringing them water when they had that massive issue with brown water. What we're just asking for is some patience. We know it's difficult. As the director said, when we dig into the ground, we're finding things from the 50s. We've also dealt with storm drain conduits right there at the intersection of Cape Heart Circle and Woodacres that we had to go under. We had to bore pipelines and put it under there. And that was something that we didn't foresee happening in that area. And we've got that completed through Ruby Collins all of last week so we can get that started. So we thank you for your patience. If you ever have a question, feel free to give us a call and contact Outreach, and they would send me the information so that I can follow up on any concerns.
Thank you, Mr. Nooks.
Thank you.
Ms. Penny?
Okay, the next question is, will these slides be available to us? Yes, they will. This presentation will be posted on the website, but it will also be emailed out to the distribution list, as well as a link for tonight's Zoom meeting. Let's see. Can we be prioritized for socialization of this information about the lead program, given our involvement in the current water project?
Yeah, as I was speaking about that, when they will have, they're gonna basically have a meeting, a presentation just like this. And when that presentation is developed and ready for distribution, they will put out that information so you can chime in and get all the details about that program. When that timeline is, I don't have that information. But I can try to get that manager to put some, at least maybe some initial information out. So at least, people can understand where they are in the process.
What I will share with the group this evening on that question, we have a deadline to respond to the Environmental Protection Agency and the Environmental Protection Department. That's EPA, EPD, state and federal government. And that deadline is quickly approaching. It's towards the end of October. And we've only had a couple of months to assess the system. Again, we have more than 3,000 linear miles of pipe in the ground. That's a huge undertaking for DeKalb watershed to do. But we are up for that challenge as well, and we're managing that challenge. That being said, we have done an extraordinary amount of research and assessment thus far, and we are compiling that information to present it to the EPA, EPD. I can share with you that, yes, we do have pipe in the ground that is substantial age, 70 plus years, but we are not finding a great deal of lead pipe. So we are fortunate in DeKalb County to not have an extraordinary amount. And I do share this with you. We have been for decades testing for lead in our water system, in our pipe system. So this is nothing new to us at all. And the testing thus far has not shown anything that is of concern. So I want to put you at rest. There is no major or large amount of lead in our system that will cause issues. And this is, we're maintaining the levels that have been set by the EPA EPD. We've not found anything alerting that exceeds those limits that the EPA EPD deem unsafe or questionable. So you should be at rest with that. But note that when we complete the assessment, it will be made public to the EPA, EPD, and to the ratepayers of DeKalb County. We will definitely put that out there. Next question, please.
Okay, someone asked for the project website and I have placed that link in the chat. This is a direct link that takes you right to the Woodacres project page. We have another question here. If they do not clean up, who do we call? And that's
Not all at once. Mr. Nooks, he's going to be your boots on the ground. We'll provide you his contact information. And if you can't get him, Mr. Emasquita, he will definitely be that person to address that concern that you have. So we'll make sure that you have their contact information, their cells, their emails. And if it doesn't happen, those people, those guys, they will definitely make sure that the contractors are respecting your community.
Director Hayes, I don't see any other questions in the chat at this time.
Really? Okay. Wow. Well, I appreciate the time. I hope that this has been informative. I hope that you've learned something from this evening, and it is our intent to complete this project and to restore your community, your neighborhood, and to leave you better than you have been in decades. That is our pledge. That's the CEO's pledge. He wants DeKalb County's infrastructure to be #1 in the country, and we are well on our way. Over 3,000 linear miles of water lines in DeKalb County. We are trying to touch every linear mile of that pipe. And if it needs replacing or upsizing or maintenance, that is our intent. We have come a long way in a very short period of time. We're going to continue to be diligent and in our intent, be purposeful to get this pipe in the ground as quickly as we can. But we want to definitely be mindful and respectful of the communities because we are guests in your communities. And we understand that, we realize that. But again, I appreciate the patience that you've shared with us. We know that sometimes it gets a bit much, but if you communicate with us, we are trying to get this right, and we will get it right, and we will be better as a community, as one DeKalb, once this is all done. So thank you for your patience. Thank you for your attendance this evening, and thank you for having the faith and confidence in my team, and know that we're going to do this right. and we have nothing but the best intentions for you. And continue to share with us your concerns to allow us to grow, to allow us to get better. I appreciate you and have a great evening.